you never expected it to happen. Attraction was supposed to be something simple, something that followed rules. You meet someone, you feel a spark, you either move closer or you walk away. But when the man is married, everything changes. Desire is no longer innocent. It carries weight, danger, and an invisible line that once crossed can never be erased. This is the darkest truth about married men and sexual attraction. It is not only about lust, it is about what Carl Jung described as the shadow, the hidden part of the psyche that lives beneath the surface of what we show the world. When attraction involves a married man, it awakens not just longing but guilt, secrecy, and forbidden hunger. It pulls on the deepest threads of the unconscious, weaving desire with shame, love with betrayal, hope with fear. Many women are caught in this paradox. On the outside they say, "I would never be with a married man," yet something unexpected happens. Maybe he shows attention no one else did. Maybe he looks at her with a kind of intensity that makes her feel truly seen. Maybe he speaks words that reach the part of her that has long felt invisible. Suddenly her body and soul respond in ways she cannot explain, and that is where the real danger begins. The attraction to a married man is not just about him. It is about what he represents. He carries the symbol of commitment, stability, and maturity. The ring on his finger unconsciously signals that he was chosen by someone else, that he has been proven worthy of loyalty and love. And the psyche translates this into hidden value. If he is married, then he must have qualities that made him desirable. This unconscious reasoning turns into a magnet, drawing a woman toward him even when her conscious mind screams to resist. Carl Jung believed that attraction often reveals what is missing in ourselves. If a married man becomes irresistible, it may not be about him as a person but about the unmet needs within the woman who feels the pull. Maybe she longs for protection, attention, or the feeling of being chosen above all others. The married man becomes a mirror, reflecting back a secret, hunger that has not yet been acknowledged. But here lies the darkest truth. This kind of attraction is built on an illusion. It is fueled not by reality, but by projections. When we project, we assign qualities to another person that may not truly belong to them. The married man becomes the canvas onto which a woman paints her desires, fears, and fantasies. She believes he is the answer, when in fact he is only the trigger. The danger is that projections are powerful enough to feel like destiny, even when they lead to heartbreak. This is why the attraction to married men feels so intoxicating. It is not just the physical pull. It is the emotional storm that mixes admiration, longing, and the thrill of the forbidden. It feels bigger than normal desire, because it touches both light and shadow. The conscious mind says no, but the unconscious whispers yes. And when the unconscious whispers, its voice can be louder than reason. Women who fall into this attraction often describe it as if they were under a spell. They know the consequences. They know about the wife, the children, the promises already made, and yet something in them keeps returning, keeps justifying, keeps hoping that perhaps he will choose differently this time. This tension between what they know and what they feel creates inner chaos. The heart races, the body trembles, the soul aches, and the mind spins in circles. But why is it so hard to walk away? Jung would say it is because the attraction is not really about the man at all. It is about the psyche demanding recognition. The unconscious seizes the figure of the married man as a symbol of something deeper, the part of the woman that feels unseen, unchosen, or unfulfilled. The temptation is to believe that only he can fill that void. But the truth is, no one outside can heal what is missing within. There is also the allure of danger itself. The forbidden has a way of magnifying desire. When something is off, the human psyche can become obsessed with it. It is like telling a child not to touch a flame. The more forbidden it is, the more irresistible it becomes. In the same way, the presence of the wife, the family, and the boundaries of marriage add intensity to the attraction. It feels like walking on fire, both terrifying and thrilling. The shadow plays a crucial role here. Jung described the shadow as the dark side of the personality, the part we try to hide from others, and even from ourselves. But attraction to a married man often awakens this shadow. A woman who sees herself as loyal, kind, and moral suddenly feels consumed by thoughts that contradict her values. She feels both excitement and shame, both alive and guilty. And in this inner conflict, she discovers the part of herself she never wanted to face. The darkest truth is that this kind of attraction is rarely about love. It masquerades as love, But beneath the surface, it is about power, projection, and unmet needs. The married man becomes a symbol of what feels unattainable, and that makes him all the more desirable. Desire feeds on distance. It thrives on the almost and the maybe, and when it cannot be fully reached, it grows instead of fading. For many women, this is the cycle that keeps them trapped. They do not necessarily want the man himself. They want the feeling he awakens in them, the feeling of being chosen, desired, or alive. But because the man belongs to another, this feeling comes with a price. It brings secrecy, lies, and inner conflict. It erodes self-respect, even as it inflames passion, and in the end, it leaves wounds that are deeper than they appear. This is why Jung's psychology is so important here. He reminds us that what we seek in others is often a reflection of what we have not yet integrated within ourselves. The attraction to a married man is not a curse but a signal. It is the soul's way of saying, look inside, see what you truly long for, discover the parts of you that you have denied. It is not easy to listen to this message because it requires honesty and courage, but it is the only way to free yourself from the illusion. The shadow will always find ways to rise, if not through this man, then through another temptation. But if you face it, if you bring the unconscious into the light, then the spell breaks. The man loses his mysterious power, and what remains is clarity. You begin to see him as he really is: flawed, limited, human. And in that moment, you also see yourself more clearly. You realize that what you were chasing was never outside of you, it was always within, and that is the darkest truth of all. The attraction to married men reveals less about them and more about you. It shows you where you are still divided, where you are still hungry, where you are still asleep to your own worth. To understand this is to take back your power, because when you no longer project your needs onto someone who cannot fulfill them, you stop repeating the cycle of longing and disappointment. The story of attraction to a married man is as old as humanity itself. It appears in myths, literature, and history, but every story points to the same lesson. The forbidden is never about the other person. It is about the fire inside us that we have not yet learned to hold. Jung would say that the task is not to extinguish the fire, but to integrate it, to transform it into wisdom, and to let it guide us toward wholeness instead of destruction. This is only the beginning of the journey into the shadow of desire. In the next part, we will go deeper into how these patterns form, why they repeat, and how to break free without losing the part of you that longs to feel alive. Before we continue, if you have ever felt trapped in a connection that seemed bigger than you, the Jung method can help you understand why. It reveals the hidden patterns of your unconscious, teaches you how to recognize projection, and shows you how to reclaim the parts of yourself you thought were lost. The link is pinned in the first comment. Attraction to married men is not only a story of forbidden desire, it is also a story of repetition. Many women notice that they do not fall once, but many times, into the same kind of connection. The faces change, the names change, but the pattern remains the same. This is because the unconscious seeks repetition until the lesson is learned. Jung called this the process of individuation, the journey of becoming whole by bringing the unconscious into awareness. When a woman feels drawn again and again to unavailable men, it is her psyche trying to show her something. The lesson is not about him, but about the unhealed wound within her. Perhaps it is the wound of abandonment, the wound of not feeling chosen in childhood, the wound of believing that love must always come with struggle. These wounds become magnets. They pull her toward situations that repeat the original pain, not because she enjoys it, but because the psyche hopes that by reliving it, she might finally transform it. This is why attraction to married men feels so powerful. It is not a random accident. It is the unconscious demanding attention. The man is only the stage on which the deeper story plays out. If she ignores it, the pattern will repeat. If she faces it, she has the chance to break free. To understand this, we must look at projection more closely. Projection is when we assign our inner qualities to another person without realizing it. We see in them what we cannot yet see in ourselves. A woman may look at a married man and feel that he holds the stability, strength, or worth she longs for. But in truth, those qualities are seeds within her, waiting to be awakened. The tragedy is that she gives away her power, believing that only he can give her what she seeks. This is where shame enters. Because society condemns women who are attracted to married men, the woman hides her feelings even from herself. She judges her own heart, silences her own longing, and buries her pain. But shame only strengthens the shadow. What is hidden grows stronger. What is denied becomes more demanding. Jung taught that the only way to transform the shadow is to face it with honesty. That does not mean acting on every desire, but acknowledging it, bringing it into awareness, and asking what it reveals about the soul. The married man becomes a teacher, though not in the way most expect. He teaches by showing the mirror of what is missing. He reveals where boundaries are weak, where hunger is strongest, and where illusions have taken root. If the woman resists the temptation to idolize him, she can instead use the attraction as a path to self-discovery. She can ask, what does he awaken in me? What part of me feels alive in his presence that I have ignored in myself? What truth about my own desires have I been afraid to face? The answers to these questions are not comfortable. They may reveal loneliness, dissatisfaction, or deep unmet needs, but they are necessary if the cycle is ever to be broken. Because if the woman does not learn from this encounter, another man will appear to repeat the same story. The unconscious does not rest until the message is heard. There is also the myth of being chosen. Attraction to a married man often carries the fantasy that one day he will leave his wife and choose her. This fantasy is powerful because it touches the wound of unworthiness. To be chosen above another woman feels like proof of value, like a crown placed on the head of the unloved self. But this fantasy is dangerous, because even if it comes true, the foundation of the relationship is built on betrayal and secrecy. And what begins with betrayal rarely transforms into trust. Jung would say that the task is to take back the projection. Instead of waiting to be chosen by him, the woman must choose herself. She must see that the qualities she admires in him are already within her. His stability is her own potential stability. His strength is her own unclaimed power. His worth is the reflection of her worth. The more she reclaims these qualities, the less she needs him to mirror them. And as she does, the spell weakens. But why does the unconscious use married men as the stage for this drama? Because marriage symbolizes wholeness. It is the archetype of union, of two becoming one. To be attracted to a married man is to long for union with the missing part of oneself. The psyche chooses this symbol not to punish but to point the way. The longing is not really for him. It is for the missing inner marriage, the integration of the feminine and masculine within the soul. Until this union is made inside, the soul seeks it outside, often in places it cannot truly be fulfilled. The process of individuation, according to Jung, is about uniting these inner opposites. The woman who feels drawn to a married man is not wrong or broken. She is being called to wholeness. The attraction is the messenger, not the destiny. The tragedy is when she mistakes the messenger for the truth, chasing him instead of listening to what her soul is trying to reveal. In the depths of this attraction lies an invitation. The invitation is to step into the fire of self, to admit the hunger, to see the shadow, to stop hiding from the truth. It is not easy. It means facing loneliness, longing, and even grief, but it is the only way to transform the cycle. For when she accepts the message, the need for repetition dissolves. The married man loses his grip, and she discovers a power within herself she never knew existed. Many women who have walked this path describe a profound awakening. They realized that what they were chasing in another man was the part of themselves that longed to be loved, seen, and chosen. They begin to make choices not from hunger, but from wholeness. They stop settling for scraps of attention and start demanding love that is open, honest, and true. They stop being drawn to unavailable men and instead find themselves attracted to partners who are capable of meeting them fully. This transformation is not just psychological but spiritual, because at its core, attraction is not about bodies but about souls. When we are drawn to someone, it is because our soul recognizes something familiar, something it needs for growth. Sometimes that growth comes through union, but often it comes through pain. The married man awakens the lesson of boundaries, self-worth, and projection. Once the lesson is learned, the attraction fades. Not because it was never real, but because it has served its purpose. The darkest truth is also the liberating truth. Attraction to married men is never really about them. It is about the parts of us that cry out to be seen. It is about the wounds that have waited for years to be healed. It is about the shadows that demand to be integrated. When we honor this truth, we step out of illusion and into clarity. We stop asking why he does not choose us and start asking why we have not yet chosen ourselves. And perhaps the most beautiful discovery is that once we choose ourselves, everything changes. the energy shifts. The old patterns lose their power. The unconscious no longer needs to repeat the same painful story. New doors open, new people arrive, and love begins to flow in healthier, truer forms. Jung taught that the soul always seeks wholeness. Every attraction, no matter how forbidden, is part of that journey. To resist it blindly is to remain in ignorance. To indulge it blindly is to remain in suffering. But to face it with awareness is to find the key to freedom. This is the task, and this is the gift. So if you have ever found yourself caught in the storm of attraction to a married man, remember this. It is not a curse, it is a message. The question is not what he means, but what you will do with what he awakens in you. Will you remain trapped in projection, or will you use it as the fire that forges your true self? The answer to that question determines whether this attraction becomes your downfall or your doorway to transformation.